In social situations, people come together as groups. Groups are classified in the field of sociology as the building blocks of society and social interaction, as they link people together through common bonds. As posed by sociologist Charles Horton Cooley in 1909, there are two main types of groups, primary and secondary. Primary groups are typically comprised of strongly connected individuals, such as family, friends, and romantic relationships. Membership in primary groups are often inherent. For example, people are born into their families and assimilate naturally into friend groups. As such, primary groups begin to influence individuals at birth. Starting with familial primary groups, people exchange implicit, often non-material items such as love, caring, and support. The main goals of primary groups are also non-material, typically being defined as the relationships created within them. As Dalton Conley states in his book You May Ask Yourself, the group is an end unto itself, rather than a means to an end. In addition to families, primary groups also exist in close friend circles. Many people consider their friends to constitute as secondary families for them, as they also provide them with support, love, and concern for their well-being. Often, if one lacks a familial primary group, they will turn to their friends as a main source of social stability. Primary groups can also be romantic in nature, as couples typically act as the proponents of a new familial primary group. Given that primary groups help to establish an individual's basic identity in relation to others, people tend to inherently cultivate a collection of people around them on whom they can rely for mental and physical support. In addition to this, primary groups are known to encourage conformity. As the relationships formed in primary groups are based heavily on loyalty, individuals in the same primary groups will often think and act along the same lines. Furthermore, the roles that members take on within their primary groups are often non-interchangeable. Once a primary group forms, the members within it continue to act according to their established roles in the relationship. As such, they are able to maintain and cultivate a stable personal identity as they interact with others in society, often through secondary groups. While secondary groups bring people together as well, they typically do so for an external goal rather than an internal one. Instead of sharing immaterial items, members of secondary groups often exchange physical commodities, such as funds or labor. Examples of secondary groups include school classrooms, work environments, and even sports teams. Membership within specific secondary groups is also voluntary. Unlike primary groups, which tend to develop inherently, secondary groups form as a result of like-minded individuals coming together to achieve a common purpose. However, the roles created within secondary groups are often interchangeable. One person who starts at the bottom of a group structure can be promoted through its ranks and eventually come to lead it. People join secondary groups in order to further their established identities as they cultivate their interests. For example, a girl who joins a soccer team may do so as a result of her highly active family, or perhaps her highly inactive family. Whatever the case, the identities we develop as a result of our primary groups directly inform our involvement with specific secondary groups, due to the fact that membership in these groups is based on personal interest and choice. However, when an individual lacks a nurturing primary group, their involvement with others in secondary groups and their social progress in general can be stymied. Primary groups provide their members with important psychological reinforcement, which in turn helps to develop a more concrete identity. When one lacks the social stability of a primary group, they are more likely to feel lost and disconnected within their world. Without others to support, nourish, and cherish them, individuals who grow up without a major primary group lack the means to comfortably discover their own identity. This can easily lead to a person experiencing feelings of hopelessness and uncertainty. People who find themselves within a stable primary group are typically found to be more confident, as the close relationships that they are a part of provide them with psychological support. As primary groups help to influence social conformity, those without a primary group may also feel themselves to be outsiders, or even misunderstood within their own society. Overall, primary groups provide individuals with a structured means by which to define themselves in relation to the world. Through the close, tight-knit emotional and psychological support that primary groups provide, individuals are able to easily develop their personalities and thus express themselves accordingly. When individuals lack the backing of a primary group, their ability to construct a stable identity can falter. Through the support that they provide, primary groups help to establish the social and even mental backing needed for individual growth in society.